Good morning, everybody. My name is Evelyn Masava, and we are here at the Nagurus, guys. With a few people, we're going to talk about small businesses, do's and don'ts. We are hosted by the Private Sector Foundation. With me today, I'm going to start with the gentleman on my left. Everybody that we're going to engage with today.
Thank you very much, Evelyn. My name is Eric Sempambo. I'm an investment specialist, business environment, in one of the programs at Private Sector Foundation, and that is the Lead Farm Structure project, which we are happy that we are being supported by the Mastercard Foundation. Absolutely. So I'm happy to be here and interact and discuss about small businesses, and especially the do's and don'ts.
We look forward to it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Diana Jericho, the CEO of Brand Momentum. Brand Momentum is a branding and graphic design company. And I'm really happy to be here to be able to share my experiences with you.
We look forward to it, especially that you're going to explain to us how we can brand ourselves and position ourselves as small businesses.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Diana.
Hi everyone, my name is Claire Mponye Muhire, and I am the director, co-founder of Blue Moon International School, and I think it's the nerves.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Blue Moon International School, and I am the person brains behind the brand Beyond Boss Babe on Instagram.
Oh wow. Yes, ma'am. And of course.
Yeah, nice to be here. My name is Untitled Chapter. I lead the team at Innovation Village. We're a technology center, and we work with entrepreneurs who are solving our biggest problems using technology.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. A little bit of a background today. We are going to. It's not really going to be too many questions, too many answers. We're just going to have a small conversation. So whoever is watching on the YouTube channel right now, please make sure you write down the questions that you'd like to ask the different people according to what you would like to learn from them. The boss babe, the brand active, the venture person, and of course PSFU. One of the most interesting things is most people don't know that the Private Sector Foundation is actually a private umbrella body for different business entities that brings together all those entities together, and it's also a subscription body. So all the different all the different businesses within different industries come together as one and engage on the different projects that support. In this case, we're going to talk about supporting young people. In the course of this discussion, I would like you to remember I would like you to remember that you have a chance to ask these people whatever you would like to know, because she, as you know, if you've followed her on Instagram, she's a serial entrepreneur. And a serial entrepreneur is someone who has done so many different businesses, and you'd like to know from them, what have you been able to do that I should also learn from, and what I should do different. Then there's her, someone who's in branding, and when small businesses start up, there's a tendency not to brand yourself and position yourself in a way that people look at you as something they can engage with. And then PSFU, of course, they come in and tell us exactly how they're helping the young people through the youth farm structure, lead farm structure, my apologies. Project that's actually helping over 70 business entities, right?
Yeah, small, micro.
Yeah, for now it's just those, right? Yeah, and would you like to tell us more about the project itself for now and the policies that have been implemented?
Yes, straight away. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And I also want to emphasize this, that Private Sector Foundation Uganda is a private organization which is happy to celebrate year number 25 in existence. So all these years we do exist to do one thing, and that is ensure that the business environment in which businesses operate is conducive. And the business we are talking about are small, medium, and large enterprises.
Or do you mean the Kaduka, or do you mean Innovation Village? just trying to weigh. Just.
By small, I actually mean the Kaduka. I actually mean also somebody who is doing, maybe a group of women who are doing farming, and they have come together to create a group. And the nature of their businesses are actually small. But there are also those who are micro, and we can go deeper into that discussion later on. So in execution of this, one of our assignments now is around impacting the young people. We know we are the second youngest country in the world. And every year now we have close to 1 million people joining the labor market from the universities. Perhaps, but the challenge is the opportunities available in the labor market can only take 450,000 people. So you have about 700,000 people that you can't place. And this number is growing day by day. It's even worse with COVID. We have a lot of people who have dropped out of school.
Now that you think about COVID, the COVID relief program, how has that helped a few of these people that you're talking about right now?
Yeah, that's an interesting one, and thank you for that. So we moved in with our partner, the Mastercard Foundation, to try and see, first of all, work with existing companies to create opportunities for young people. You know, we have a lot of young people who have ideas, who have established certain businesses, but they are struggling to access the market. When they look at a person like Protea Hotel, they look at them as a certain corner somewhere, and they say, this one is untouchable, unattainable. But guess what? The same Serena here buys carrots, buys bed sheets. Who produces the things? They don't have a factory that produces things, meaning that there is somebody supplying. But if you're outside of this whole discussion, you can't actually know. So we moved on to identify people like these that have some access to market opportunities and work with them to provide that information to our young people. Yeah. And also we didn't stop at that. We're also doing further to train them and boost their capacity to be in position to now supply the tomatoes.
Is this also part of the youth lead?
Absolutely. This is under the lead farm structure program
good.
that we are implementing. So we have a very ambitious target of creating 300,000 work opportunities.
That's huge. How are you going to be able to do that?
Interesting one. It's a good challenge, but it's interesting because it's an opportunity for our country to impact our sisters, our daughters, our friends that don't have an opportunity that we have managed to get. Yeah. So we are using companies, and we are in 5 sectors. That includes agriculture, because most of our people are employed there. So we want to impact them and see that they improve the way they're doing things, but also have a market within their next radius, such that they're able to sell and make a profit and move on from one level to the other.
How are you positioning them in a way that they're being able to be seen in the market?
Okay, so how we do that is, first of all, we identify them. Yeah. And as we are doing so, we work with partners, we have common community-based organizations.
Are we allowed to mention the partners as well?
Oh yes, we can.
So
which
partners are you working with?
So we have, for now, we have about 30 companies that we're working with directly. Yeah. And I'll just cite out one, Protea Hotel, where we are today.
Thank you.
So it's one of the partners we're working with. So what we do is, when we get Protea Hotel, we work within their systems, especially the distribution system and supply chains. For instance,
that's good.
They prepare food for every activity. Who grows the food? Okay? We want young people to grow this food, those that have opportunity. We want others to move into the chain. We have people that are very good on social media, but actually doing it for the wrong reasons. Okay? We want to utilize their energies, but be able to redirect them into seeing some of these opportunities that we are putting across. So it's different 5 sectors, including trade and the rest. And I'm happy to say that we are moving on well. When COVID moved in, we quickly, with a very good donor that we have, we quickly start with them and thought out for solutions. Because
Yeah.
when COVID came, none of us ever thought that something like COVID will ever exist in life.
Yeah.
The same applies to businesses. A number of them were hit. We saw that it was the first time when all of us were in home, were not even allowed to go to church physically. Now, those of our parents that have seen the different wars and changes, at least tell you that even when there were wars, we used to go to church.
Yeah.
But COVID didn't give us that opportunity. So it was an anomaly.
But it was for our own good. It wasn't
Absolutely,
just, yeah, exactly.
absolutely. So, and later on, we will discuss further on what are the gains out of COVID.
Okay.
Because those actually exist.
Yeah, actually, when you talk about COVID, that reminds me of Diana here, because earlier on you were telling us about how your business was affected by COVID and, you know, what you went through. And what do you think really led you to that point, to be able to almost lose your own business?
We all know what we don't yet know the magnitude of the effect of COVID, especially on businesses and especially small businesses in Uganda. But you know, like the proverbial storm that comes and blows off roofs and exposes what is in the house. That is for a long time. My business, we had grown to a certain level that we were proud of, and we were beginning to reach certain revenues above 500 million, 600, like that.
Oh, that's nice.
Yes, in a year. So we are growing.
So you were no longer a small business at that time?
No, according to the categorization in Uganda, I think that's still a small business.
Still?
Yes.
500
Small
million.
to medium, anyway.
Okay, good.
So, but when COVID came through, when COVID hit us, the lockdowns did. And yes, I experienced the weaknesses that my business had.
Yeah.
And one of it was we were largely reliant on credit. We were reliant on importation. We were reliant. There's some processes that we're reliant on that because of the lockdown we're completely shut down, and this we're looking at 6 months, 8 months, if I'm to count 2020 and 2021. So revenue was totally closed off. Supplies, I could not supply my companies. Definitely even the companies did not demand anymore. We're led completely business to business. So there was no business. And because we were reliant on credit, there was no cash coming through, yet we had creditors to pay, we had staff to pay. So within that time, we went through, the last 2 years have been very difficult. Yeah. And it really brings you to a point where you need the resilience that you had, that you have stored maybe somewhere in the cupboard, has to come out, and you have got to use it.
So do you think not being able to have had that side money that could have been brought back into the business was part of the mistake that you made?
Yes. Okay. And for what we did, okay, we had to, our staff, we lost our staff, we cut down. And then there's some, you talked about the advantages of COVID. During that time, most of our customers, like for example, we had some expenses that later on we realized we didn't need them at the moment. When we're in a building that was closed, because we're in an arcade, so it was totally closed for months. So then we realized we had a property that we had that we could actually go back to. Yeah. And also the fact that throughout the time that we have been working, over 6 or 7 years, there are some customers that have never walked into our offices. And these were 90% of our customers.
So they could just send emails?
Yes, we literally, we didn't know that we were doing online even before. We were doing digital before. Yeah. So,
can you
yes, like the light bulb just came up that actually, we're in a digital space that we didn't know that we had. So we set back, we cut down on the costs. We concentrated on the next 2 years on just having our creditors, whatever business that was coming in, finishing that off, which we were able to do. And now we are looking at this opportunity that we have to build a digital company in branding.
And just to be clear, so to get back to your footing, what were you able to do to get out of the hole that COVID and the previous mistakes that you had done had dug for you? Now, what were you able to do to bring yourself back to where you are now as a company to go back?
No, we can't even say that we are out
Back,
of the
of
pit
course
yet.
not.
Yes,
Yeah.
we are still
Yeah.
in recovery, like most businesses are. But yes, there are costs that we cut down on, and we concentrated, as I said, we concentrated on whatever revenues we are making to be able to reduce on the credit that we had, and so in that way we started concentrating on making the sales.
Yeah.
But first of all, I can say that recovery is still ongoing because the demand for our products has just started,
Yeah.
and we can say in the last two months. And Eric had spoken about
COVID relief.
the COVID relief.
Yeah.
We thank God for PSFU.
Because
Yeah, because PSFU, I can say I'm one of the beneficiaries for this.
What did you gain
For this
from-
year,
Were you in a training or?
yes,
No,
it does.
I would like to do that Uganda after I know what exactly
Yes.
we're clapping for. We might be clapping that you gave her 1 million.
She can talk about it.
Yeah. So
So yes, I know there were so many of us. So we had, they were each giving us. It's not a lot
was
of
it
money,
a
but
training? Was it a training or? Was
it's
it
a grant.
So it was a grant. You
It's a
applied
grant,
for the
yes,
grant.
in a grant.
And
Now
what,
in
and
our
what project?
in our particular one, because I told you the opportunity. So we're developing a web application that was going to help us in
Yeah.
automating most of our processes. So and PSFU was able to give us through that fund. So it's
now
what
that
we're
one
working
you can
on.
clap
Yes,
for, yes.
it's what we're working on,
How much
and we
again?
see.
Just to be clear. Yeah, okay. So that the tax man can be very clear about it as well. Actually, now talking
Yes.
about that, since you went through something like that, as a small business owner as well, who has just started my business, because I've had so many ideas and concepts about what to start. I've been so scared every single time to start my business. Claire, you as a person who has done so many businesses, you started a school, you've done brushes, makeup brushes, right? And so many other things. You even have a master class. What advice do you give to me? Because I've just set it out. My wig business is just seven days old. What am I supposed to do as Evelyn to position myself that my clients are able to access me, so that this business is not one I start and then 6 months later I have to be like, oh my God,
All right.
what a waste.
So the first thing I'm going to say is, first of all, you need to love the business
Yeah.
that you, in my opinion, this is my entirely my opinion. You need to love the business you are starting, because I see a lot of people starting businesses that are, echitambula, and then, but unfortunately, echitambula, like if you're in it for just the money,
Yeah.
the hard hits that are going to come left, right, and center are going to be so hard that you're not going to have a firm. It's going to just hit you, and you're going to fall.
Yeah.
In which case, then you're going to leave the business, and you're not going to experience that growth that you want.
Yeah.
So, first of all, your why is very important.
Yeah.
I've started so many businesses. I've closed many of them because
But
I
how
never
come-
knew
How
my
come
why.
you were able to do all them, like close them?
Because I never knew my why.
Yeah.
Very many, I did not makeup. I don't even wear makeup. Why would I start
just-
a
the
makeup
brush
brush business?
Those actually they were pretty brushes. I
They
saw
were
them,
very
really
pretty. I got them from China. I got everything. I asked them. The color was specifically what I wanted, but it was I was living in Ireland at that time,
Yeah.
and that makeup is a huge thing.
Yeah.
There, and I was like, well, if I sold 50 brushes at, let's say, 50 euros,
Yeah.
I'll get so much money, and that's where I was, like the money I could get, you get, and the popularity you'd get as a makeup brush owner and whatnot, and what I failed to realize is that I wasn't passionate about it. So the minute, I think it was a delivery that went wrong and this customer was on my case, I was like, the internet, I am over it, I am tired, and I left
And
it.
the resilience
A few
went
months, yes. So a few months into the business, and it was actually doing well. In retrospect, it was really, really doing well. But I got to a point where it was just too much. Like that thing of hope, I had a day job.
Yeah.
I had a very hectic day job. So I'd get home, I'd pack things. You know, you have to pack the things, you have to send them. Sometimes it would take me like 3-4 days to send the things. Kumbe, I said it was next day delivery. So, you know, those are all the mistakes I made in the beginning. So things like that, I would say, figure out what your why is. Why are you doing this? And it has to be more than I need to make money. Because money will not make you happy.
Yeah, but you do know people actually do start these businesses because they need the money.
You need the money. That's
Yeah.
money is an important factor,
Yeah.
but it's not the most important
Okay,
factor.
good.
You know, so what is it that you want to? What are you doing this for? Is it your children? Is it what are you? And that is what's going to keep you
in the business.
firm in the business, even when things are just slapping you left, right, and center, because they are. That is, I'm sure everyone here who has started a business will know. From day one, things are slapping you.
Yeah.
There's a lot more difficulty than there is
Yeah.
success. Before you get one success, you just go through like 20 million fails.
Yeah.
You know, those 20 million fails before you get to the successful part of your business. One success, small success, even just getting your products, like you have them in hand.
Yeah.
The hurdle you have to go through is so big, and so, you know, it's so when it hits you, at some point you're like, you know what, when those things get here, I'm going to sell them. I'm not doing this anymore. Does that make sense? So you start before you fail before you even start.
Yeah.
So that's the thing I would say, that figuring out what your why is. Why are you starting this business? Why are you doing
regret
this?
any of this? Like,
No.
Oh, thank God. Because it would make no sense for you that you. Okay, yeah, as a human being, of course, you would regret
Yeah.
a lot of some of
Yes.
the things you've done and
Yeah.
you failed and that.
Yes.
But along the way, since now, you can say yes, they failed, right? But you've learned a lot too.
I have.
So
And
what have you, like, what would you tell, what have you learned that could be more useful now that it wasn't useful before?
First of all, it takes time. It's taken me 10 years to get where I am. 10 years.
You're a veteran.
And that's why I'm saying I always knew my why. So even if my wife was starting a specific business, failed, I always got up and did the next one. Was right on to the next one. My mother was like, but you girl, you know, get a job.
Every single time you end something, you start something.
Immediately.
Were you rich?
No.
Because where were you getting all this money?
No, very funnily, I didn't start my businesses, besides the school, that's the only business I had capital for.
Yeah.
That's the only business I've had capital for. All the other businesses, and there have been many, some of them, there's been so short-lived even that I don't remember them.
So basically, the serial entrepreneurs. So typical.
It's just exactly what I've done. Just on to the next.
But now, like all those businesses that you've done, I feel like maybe this is where people like CK come in, right? Because CK works with an organization that helps small businesses. So a person like Claire, so you've seen that she started all these businesses. What does Innovations Village actually offer to young people that are starting businesses, and how do they mentor them to do better business, to grow their businesses, to position their businesses? How do you do that, apart from giving us space to rent?
Which we don't do anymore.
Oh my God.
But anyway, I think it's a series of things, because the space, yes, is good, but beyond the space, you need a community, you know, of people to work with.
PSFU.
People who are going through what you're going through. You know, you think you have problems, then you come and talk to this guy, and you're like, I'm okay, you know, and then you come back and build back better. So that community creates a sort of encouragement, you know, for people.
Like a
that have
support system.
Support system,
Yes.
you know. That's really the foundation. That, you know, business is so hard. You know, don't go at it alone. Find people who are thinking about the same thing. If you can't partner up, collaborate, and understand what you can learn from problems she has already gone through.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, she has already done so many mistakes, so don't repeat the same mistakes.
Yeah.
Learn from them. So that's the very foundational element for why we have the spaces.
How did you go away from spaces? Because I remember it was the spaces, you offered spaces for renting, like which also came with boardroom, kitchen.
Yeah. No, so anyone who runs an incubator, that's like the basis.
Yeah.
If you run a space for entrepreneurs, that's like the foundation.
Yeah.
That's a starter.
And then.
Yeah, but the entrepreneur doesn't need just the starter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They need,
Support.
policy environment that understands what a small business is. They need access to finance. They need access to capital. They need to understand the difference between a good idea and a good business idea.
Yeah, true.
They need to understand how to integrate technology in what you're doing, such that you can scale and reach many more customers. So we see the space as a strategic foundation, and that's why we have spaces in Gulu, in Jinja, in Barara, Motive, and Tinda.
And all these spaces actually have people that help people strategize, plan,
Yes.
get them policies and advise them, also like support systems as well.
Yes. So the
really
space
nice.
is the foundation.
Yeah.
Really the foundation. Now,
Just beyond.
beyond the space is, okay, so how do we build a business that's attractive, that's investment ready, that is solving real problems, not something you were in the shower, you thought of an idea, real problems.
Yeah.
And then how do we attract the right type of capital for this business? And then how do we grow this business from employing one person to employing 100
Do you help
people?
them with funding as well, like helping them apply for the funding or get funding?
So that's a really good question. We do help them with funding, and funding has been a critical piece of that. So we have a 97 fund that we started with partnership.
With Masaka, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So last year it invested in about only 10 entrepreneurs, 10 to 15. But the bigger part is also how do we get ready for investment?
Yeah.
So we have what we call demo days, where we connect an entrepreneur to an angel investor who is going to write that first check. So we do a lot of linkages and connections to investors who are looking to support entrepreneurs. We also connect to typical traditional financing structures, like financial literacy through the banks.
The financial literacy part is actually big for small business owners, because many of us don't know how to plan our finances. When we start, the first money that comes in, you don't know how to plan for it. Now, for example, if I do my sales for, let's say, now that I'm starting my weight business, right? I'm going to sell, let's say, 6 weeks in a week. How are you going to advise me to plan my finances better so that I grow the business beyond just, okay, I need to buy more wigs, need to do the branding. What are you going to advise me, Evelyn, to do better?
Yeah, first step is the money you sold is not profit.
Don't eat it.
You find someone says, today I sold 10 million shillings. So you have a feeling that I've made 10 million shillings.
When the money is actually the business.
Yeah, it's first of all, it's business money, but second, you need to know, how much have we made? Revenue is the sales that we've made, but of that, what working capital, what's your cost of operation? It's very easy to get excited at selling 10 million. But when if you look at your cost of operation, you're really losing money and you're not making money. But I think for me, part of what I've learned now, probably two things for businesses, small businesses. We need to focus on creating value. Because the alternative of not having money is value. So the more value you create, the more you're able to attract an investor, the more you're able to attract people into your business. So always, try to understand, why am I different from the next guy? What value am I bringing? And as you do that, try to solve a problem that's affected by millions of people.
Talking about problems, your spaces and also, you know, the different ones in the... I've seen, starting with the hotel that we're in right now, that she's a mom, right? Today she came with her baby.
Yes.
They don't really cater as much to young mothers. We're young mothers who are entrepreneurs, but are you catering to them? How are you tailor-making some of these things to the young mothers who are entrepreneurs? So she's here. She is on a panel. She's working right now, right? Her baby is the other side with the nanny. How are these spaces? Do they have the sections for young mothers as well? Like, you know.
I think there's a lot of awareness that has now been created.
Yeah.
So many people are actually doing businesses where they help workplaces create child-safe.
Do you know some of these persons? Because I would like to know them.
Yeah.
They're quite rare in Uganda right now.
Yeah, but I think it's a trend, and we've also learned and adapted. But I know of the Cradle, no longer operating where they used to be in Tinder. But I also know that I think it's Manuela. She helps
Young mothers.
corporate organizations, businesses to create child-safe environments for their staff. So if you go to, I think there's a law firm I know, Sevalu, that would have almost half a floor just dedicated to.
They have a whole nanny area and everything.
Yes,
That's so
yes.
cool. Even Parliament actually does have something like that.
So it's something that's picked up, and how do we create safe spaces for mothers and for children that are taking care of young children. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Quick one, Claire. How are you handling the whole being a mother, a wife, entrepreneur, owner of so many different businesses? How is that? Because I know it has to be difficult.
It is, and I hear often people saying things like mom, life, work-life balance.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a balance.
There's no balance.
I feel like on the day today, I am here, I am a panelist. You know what I mean?
But the baby is just here.
The baby's there, but I'm a panelist,
Yes.
I can't, right now I can't balance. I can't be a mom and a panelist at the same time. Does that make sense? So I have brought milk and I have brought someone to take care of my baby. Tomorrow I'm going to be like, no, I'm not doing anything else.
Yeah.
I am at home with my child. Or the next day I'm going to be a teacher.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to be things like that. So you just time blocking and saying
wear
this
so
time.
many crowns, and it's difficult because the way I see it, at the end of the day, being a mom, of course, takes the most center stage.
Yes.
But how has the entrepreneurship world, entrepreneur world, been conducive for you as a mom? Because I know it's a lot more difficult than it does look for.
Yes, it's difficult. Where do you leave your baby when you have to go? Who do you leave them with? How have you pumped enough milk? Because I'm exclusively breastfeeding, and that also means pumping, but she only takes breast milk. So do I have space in where I'm going? Like right now, I have a bottle for her, but that means I need to pump. Do I have space to pump? So those are the difficulties that come around. However, the best thing about being an entrepreneur as well is the fact that I get to choose what I do and what I don't do.
Yeah.
I hope that makes sense.
No, it actually.
So I get to bring my child to work with me and her nanny.
And wherever you go.
Wherever I go, if I can't leave her at home, I'll come with her, because usually I leave her at home with someone else, either my sister or my husband. And the nanny.
It does still seem hectic to me.
You know what? You just get used to it, and it's new life. That's how life is. You just have to get used to your new normal.
So we are going to take a small 5-minute break. Then we come back. We're going to, of course, delve deeper into what the projects are, and of course, you've understood a little bit of what our panelists have gone through, what they bring to the table. Now, if you have any more questions, please make sure you send them to the PSFU Foundation handle on Twitter. And you can also send them to some of us ourselves in case we don't answer them for you right now. We'll get back to them. What's your Twitter handle?
I'm not on Twitter.
Oh, Instagram, Boss Babe.
Your own Boss Babe.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you have a Twitter?
Yes, Dinan701.
Okay. Yeah. This one does not have social media, so email, and of course, CK Jaffe.
Yeah.
Anyways, we're going to come back in the next few minutes. Thank you so much. We're coming back. Thank you. Thank you guys. You're welcome back. First of all, I mean, among big people, because to be very honest, me, I'm just a young person when it comes to business. Because if you look at him, then you look at her, then you look 10 years or 11 or what, and me, it's just 7 days. Goodness. No, but that doesn't mean that I've actually not been in business, because you guys, the gig life is actually business as well. Just so you know. And by the how is PSFU helping the gig us?
The gig economy.
Yeah, how is helping us?
Thank you very much, Ivry. I must say that you're at least better than me, because me, I'm aspiring. I look up to you and then progressively to others. So, but to go back to how we are supporting the gig economy, it's first of all, we've recognized that that is another area where there is very minimal interest to operate business. For instance, somebody to create something, you don't need to have a bachelor's.
Yeah, true.
You don't need to be 35 years. You know those requirements when you apply for a job, they say minimum requirement, this, CGPA, what, experience. For creating, those things don't happen. So it's an area that we've looked at, and it employs a number of people. We have been able to recognize it at our leadership level, at the board. Now we have a creative sector, fully established under PSFU.
How is that being implemented?
So it's a very new sector, and we just created it just about 2 weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken, and it's now being represented by Dan Ragadi or Mr. Kaziwe.
Oh, nice.
That's good. He's now...
Wait, like Ragadi.
Yes.
The real Ragadi.
Okay.
So I jokingly say that now we have Ragadi.
Because he's an actual creative.
I mean. So we are moving into that space because we know how much it means. There's a lot of creativity in this country. We're a very entrepreneurial country. There are so many people coming up with innovative ideas.
And did you know that the biggest number of creatives are actually women? Example?
Absolutely, and young.
Yeah, so how are you actually uplifting the young women in the creative industry? Because many of us, we have so many ideas. We give some of these ideas. I'll walk into your office and give some of these ideas. But people listen more to men than they do to us when we come up with our ideas. So how are you helping them as creatives?
Thank you. I must say that it's a work in progress. But we have started on it by, first of all, talking to our companies that we're working with. We are recognizing the fact that we must address sexual harassment related aspects.
Thank you, that's very important.
And we have come up with a program called the Gender Equity Seal. It's a program financed by the Uganda, by the UNDP. But what it does is that you go to companies like Hotel, and you request them within their operations to cater in or factor in the challenges that are very peculiar to young women. A good example is what Claire was explaining previously. I mean, she has to be a panelist, but she has a child, and she has to pump milk from somewhere. So we are encouraging them to establish child care centers. So far we have 30 companies that have adopted that, and that includes Stanbic, Centenary.
Stanbic has a child care center?
Yes, established. There are other MSMEs like Aloish Organic.
Oh no, I've heard of this.
Established one. So it's a work in progress. We are moving into changing that.
Do you guys have one at your office?
That's a very good question.
Challenge.
Ask these questions, because if you're telling us that this is what you're implementing, is it being implemented at your own office?
Good question. I must say we are in final stages of establishing one. One of the challenges we've been struggling with was space. Now we have space. We have the goodwill. So I can tell you that by February, March, we should have it up and running.
So meaning...
But in addition to that, one of the policies that we offer is flexible working hours for especially childbirth mothers.
Okay.
beyond the normal 3 months leave.
Yes.
You can actually work around
Yes.
the program with your supervisor on when you can come to office.
That is so cool. That's
When-
actually good. Do you do that for men as well? Because they need it.
Yes, we
The
do.
fathers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have it at yours?
No, he
Yes,
says
we need it.
they need
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, but also
Let's
you-
deal with the needing it, but
But as well, are you as well
Everything
as your
else.
ventures? Do you actually implement that for your businesses?
well, not the specific.
For your own, I mean yours as a company.
Yeah, not yet.
Not yet,
yes.
but don't you think it's
The realization has hit that we actually need it. Right?
actually when
That's
he was
growth
when he
right
was
there.
talking about the creative industry, right?
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you the question because you really deal a lot with the creative industry.
Yes.
Do you think that it has been highly neglected because there's so many small business owners that are starting out and most of them are actually in the creative world?
Yeah. And I think it's emerging.
Yeah.
Anything that's emerging, we don't understand yet how to deal
True.
with it. I'll give you a good example right with you here.
Yeah.
You say you are 7 days
Into business.
into business.
Yeah.
There was a time I used to think that I've been building Innovation Village for 5 years. Then someone asked me, okay, so tell me about the life before the 5 years. And then you'd find that in one way or another, I'd been involved in activities that are contributing
To the business.
To the
Yeah.
business.
Yeah.
So you've not really been in business for 7 days. You've been
For a long time.
yeah, everything you've been doing
Yeah.
has led you to this moment
Yeah.
of what it means that you can do and how you can grow it to be the best person.
Does that
doing
bring us back to the strategy concept of like most small business owners don't actually have a business plan and strategy that they operate by? Because
Yeah,
you see, most people just
Yeah, most it's just do it.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. I feel it. So.
But
I
do you
it.
think it's important that we have to create those strategies? Like you have a strategy plan for your business that I'm going to operate like this, like that. Okay, so this is my business.
Yeah.
This is Evelyn Masawa's business,
Yeah.
and this is what we're going to do. We're bringing in wigs. We're going to sell the wigs. Now, there has to be a plan of how that's going to operate. The operating plan, how
Yes.
the costs are going to be.
100%.
expended, Yeah.
100%. And one would worry now. Where do I go to learn how to do a 100-page business plan?
Masterclass.
Yeah. But I think it's been simplified a lot.
Yeah.
We talk of business model canvases now.
Yeah, you guys
where-
have a mentorship thing of sorts,
Yeah.
don't you?
But where you can also see the questions you need to answer on a single page about your business, YouTube, and for me, I tell people that anything you want to do, anything has already been done
Yeah, true.
by someone for the last 100
And
years.
some of them have even done it better
Yeah.
than you plan
So
to do it.
the time I came up with the name Innovation Village, I thought I was the most creative guy. So I, write it, and I'm like, oh my God, just even look at the name.
At that time, even
Yeah.
Hive Collab had just started,
Yeah.
right?
Even the name is
Hive
innovative.
Collab had just started as well.
No,
at
no,
that
I
time.
think that they've been here for some time.
Yeah.
So I went into Google and I looked for Innovation Village. I found there was one in Rwanda. I found there was like 2 in the US. So for me, the basic principle of business is anything you want to do has already been outdone.
How are you going to do it
Yes.
better?
So learn, see what they're doing, learn from it, get inspiration, do it better, customize.
Yeah.
Don't try to be original, and say it's only me,
Yeah, of course.
East and West Africa. So
That's true.
that's into this.
And that's also the bit about there being a knowledge gap in the small business world. Like there's a huge knowledge gap. We don't really know how to structure our businesses. We don't really know how to actually grow them beyond the first few sales that we get excited. Like you remember when I said, then you said, oh, that company is actually not just money, it is back to business money.
Yeah.
Claire does master classes. How impactful do you think it is that your master classes, are they helping people with the knowledge gap that we experience, the same thing you experienced 10 years ago as you started? Do you think the lessons you have amassed in the long run are the ones you're using in your master classes now to tell people?
So what my Beyond Boss Babe, the brand, is the mission is to help bridge that knowledge gap that people have.
Yeah.
What I mean is that we know all that SMEs, CRM,
Yes.
all those terms, they're
Yeah.
businessy, but they mean nothing when you're starting. You know, they mean nothing when you do not know how to get from point A to point B.
Yeah.
We have even if you're a business graduate,
Yeah.
you do not know step 1, step 2, step 3, you know, and all your knowledge from the business school is going to be quite
Theoretical?
Yes, it's theoretical. So what I wanted to do with Bio on Boss Paper, my masterclass, I've only had one so far. I plan on making
How is
more.
that going?
It was really, really
You
well
should invite
received.
him, by the way. I will keep insisting.
We'll talk. So what happened was I realized that there was that knowledge gap. People don't know. On day one, what do I do? Because you want to build an innovation village, yeah? But then, Banange, how do you do it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He'll tell you he's grown it for 5 years.
But between those 5 years.
But on day 1 or week 3, day 5, hour 6, what did you do?
Yeah.
And that is what I've tried. My masterclass was called Monetize Your Knowledge. So I'm more into knowledge entrepreneurship. So in selling your knowledge. So you're a branding specialist.
Yes.
How do I brand first of all, I don't even know why branding is important for my business. So I've never done it. Everything that I bring, just choose colors, and do you know what I mean?
First, wait. When you talk about branding, that just reminds me that half of the time when people start their businesses, they neglect how important it is to branding, right?
Yeah.
So if you are going to advise her now, for example, she's doing the monetize your knowledge thing.
Yeah.
As a branding guru, what do you think she can do to reach people? Because she's already done one masterclass, right?
Yeah.
So we want her to do more, so that
before
the knowledge gap actually gets bigger.
Before you answer that, I actually saw, before my masterclass, I didn't have any branding.
Yeah.
And then I got someone helped me
Social
be
media
marketing.
or just
So, everything, like they branded my landing, my sales pages, everything. And my God, the sales were really good. They're the best sales I've ever made.
That's
Because I
good.
did so much I did it
Professionalized
professionally.
everything.
Yes. So I wasn't just me, Claire, doing my own. Well, I did most of it, but the branding part was outsourced to a professional.
Yeah.
And I saw that difference because I'd hear people saying branding. I'm like, me, I don't have 1.5 million to spend on branding.
Funny enough,
You know
it's
what I
not
mean?
that expensive. It's actually not that expensive.
But you know what I mean, yeah? Even if you tell me 500K, I'm trying to make 500K.
Yeah.
So how am I going to spend 500K on branding when that's how much I want? Do you know what I mean? And most people are like, let's say your wig business.
Yeah.
You know, if you're going to sell a wig, let's say 500,000 and make 250K of it. If I come out and say now give me 500,000 and brand for you, that's exactly the reaction you're going to give me. But now where the knowledge is, I didn't have the knowledge, me myself.
Back then.
Until September 2021.
Which is just
a few months ago.
Yeah.
That's when I realized how important branding is. Now, where she comes in, when I say monetize your knowledge, is she comes in, she's a branding specialist. She knows exactly what branding can do to a business. So she comes in and tells me, look, this is how you can brand it. You can brand your business. This is what you need. You need branding guidelines. All those terms I learned then. And then I will know, okay, if I want to make 1 million, I will not brand. But if I want to make 10, I need branding. Do you know what I mean? So that's now where I now teach you how to monetize that particular knowledge that you have. Because everyone has knowledge that someone else needs.
Because I feel with that knowledge, and especially when it comes to branding, right? I feel like if a small business has already branded and then they walk to Sika's office or they walk into Eric's office when they need some of the funding, don't you take them more seriously when they have an actual well-packaged thing that they're presenting to you than people who just walk in with in a business.
I think it's called skin in the game. So why should someone believe in your business
When
Even you don't
when you've
believe
not
it
done
yourself.
enough to demonstrate that you believe in it and you're moving on with it?
But you know,
I think really what I can say about branding, I can simplify it in this way. It's like you going to the market and you're not dressed as a person. Or you going out of your house and you go out naked.
Yeah.
So most of us, when we're starting businesses, okay, that's like the last thing we're thinking about.
Yeah.
But you know, like 5-6 years ago, many people were not thinking about branding, but now I'm beginning to see there's a
People are
consciousness.
thinking about it.
Yes. You can see by the shops, like I walk through
Yeah.
shops, like on the street, maybe even in a small area, let me say in Tinda, and you see the different, just by the signage.
the biggest example
you-
would be boutiques. Have you seen how boutiques brand?
Yes, because they know it's very important to stand out. The
stand
thing
out,
about
yeah.
branding is you to stand out of the noise that's around you. And remember, branding is an impression. It's an impression. If you send me your business card or you send me an email, and I've never talked to you before, I have never interacted with you before, I get the first impression.
Yeah.
It's my first time to see you.
Yeah.
And then I want to know more, okay? If I see you these particular colors, you tell me you're a financial institution. Okay, let me say, you tell me you're a small, let me say like a money, I'm giving an example.
Moneyland.
A money lender that wants to become, a legit business. So I look at your branding, and then from there, the colors will be browns. What I'm wondering,
Yeah.
okay, is this shady? Like unconsciously within.
Yes,
So those are things
we
we don't
attach colours
think
to
about.
a
Yes,
feeling.
yes. So branding is about colors and impressions, and the way you present your company, just like the way you present yourself to who you want, your target customer, your target audience. So that impression. So when you think about branding, it's not only just the logo. Some people just look at the logo, but it's just the entire 360. If I come into your office, how does it look like?
Yeah.
If you send me a stationery, how is it going to look like? It has to be consistent.
Your delivery
When I know,
packages as
yes,
well.
when I know this is consistent, it means I'm going to get
Consistent
there's a
value.
consistent service. Yes,
Yeah.
because I have that impression already before you disappoint me anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, and funny.
But funny enough, that goes back to what he said. Like,
Yes.
The value. What value do you bring in?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because if I'm going to look at you as a valuable business,
Yeah.
if I deliver my wig to you and it's just in a Kavera, you're like, hey, but
Yeah, all that money.
Everything.
Yes,
you
and,
think about
and actually,
will rate me
good
like
branding gives you the ability to price right,
Exactly.
to even price higher. So, for a reason, for example, let me give you an example. You go to Cafe Java's,
Yeah.
let's say, because Cafe Java's is a very good example
Brand.
of
branding.
the ambience and everything, and even the packaging and the way they bring it to you. When they tell you it's 25, you say, this is
You
cheap
will
today.
pay.
This, yeah, like these guys have this is cheap, yeah? But it is because of the impression that you get.
Yes.
So you have now the right to bring a price tag to it, because I have worked out the branding and the ambience.
But quick one before we continue. With the price tag thing and all, how are your businesses surviving with the current? Because every single month there's a new form of tax
Yeah.
being created. So my first question goes to Mr. Eric. How is the private sector foundation actually, leveraging this situation? Because the taxes are actually stifling small businesses. Every single month there's a new tax, So the tax money is, I will not say killing the businesses, because it's not their fault that many of the businesses are dying out. But in a way, there's the way the taxes are affecting so many people. I want to import something small, but once it reaches, the border, then they top up with like 3-4 million. Something that had cost me like 2 million. Now I have to do twice the tax. Isn't that?
And before you know, you clearing your attractive penalty.
Exactly.
Yes.
So again, when we were earlier when we were talking about startups, startups are not always, as small as me and them. Startups are also Japheth, a big conglomerate that is all over the place, but they're also affected by the taxes within Uganda. So how are you as PSFU doing that, to leveraging the situation for us?
The tax man.
Thank you very much for that question. I must say that actually startups start from me. He is aspiring. And I'm at idea generation.
Yes.
But unfortunately, in government, which is the body that makes these taxes and laws, the word startup is not well understood. For them, when you talk about a business, they look at it from MSME, small and micro.
What are those terms you're
enterprises,
saying?
Small, medium, and large enterprises.
Yeah.
So, but they forget that actually you can start from high level and you skip all these skills and just go to large.
Yeah.
Because of your idea as a startup.
And financial standing.
Absolutely. So at that level, we are really not planning for them as a country, which is a challenge that as PSFU we're trying to push for. To make a very good example is, you see, most of the times we talk about policy. It looks as if we are the most educated.
Yeah.
But it simply means business plan.
Yeah.
Just like the startup or the discussion we've been having there, understanding your business. From government, it is understanding who startups are in the country.
Yeah.
And that is their business plan, your strategy. Okay? What we actually call policy. Now, we don't have that business plan currently available. And so, it is similar to the example that CK gave. But if you don't have confidence in explaining and understanding your business, why should people believe in you? So if you look at it from government does not have confidence in startups in Uganda.
And which is a very sad idea.
Very sad situation. So
But CK, you're always partnering with different government MDAs, aren't you?
Well, we do a lot of work, certainly, with government.
And do you think
part of what
do you think you can what he says they don't understand what startups are, right? So do you think you're doing a good job trying to bring the idea of startups to the different government MDAs?
Part of what we're actually doing now is pursuing what we call a startup act. You know, a policy environment that
Can you summarize that for us a little bit?
So, you know, what type of policies do we need in place to support a startup that's growing? A policy that can incentivize big businesses to partner with a small startup. A policy that can allow a small business to qualify to get into business with government or without pre-qualifying, you know, through that stringent process. Policy that can, you know, protect them, whether it's on taxation, at least in the first 3 years. Policies that can allow, you know, them to get easily financed, access to finance. So
I can talk more on that as well. You see, even at my level of idea generation, if the policy environment is not good,
aligned,
I don't clearly identify opportunities.
Yeah, that's true.
So we need to start the discussion from idea generation and actually realize that actually business ideas start from my level and then we move into something else. But if you talk about from the kind of work that we are doing as PSFU, we have been known for advocacy and engagement, and we have picked up this. We want to see an environment where people are able to seize opportunities. I'll give you an example. That same example of taxation and the rest. Do you know that actually there are opportunities available in taxation?
Such as?
Such as the products that you import, for example. If we work together, you can bring them on at 0%.
Please.
Why do we not know this?
Thank you. How come we don't know this? How come we don't know this?
We have started this and
When
we are going
did
to
it
join
start?
hands. It's possible, very much possible. Some people actually benefit out of it. All you just have to do.
I feel like that a lot of these great things, especially in business, are only catering to a few. Why do a few people know? You know?
I think that's because government does not know us as startups. And that's why I concur with CK that the starting point is really us to be known. Present that document and say, we have the policy, which eventually can grow into an act or something else. But then that is the basis for us to be recognized. I'll give you an example, and CK knows this very much, is because we don't have a startup act, it's not very easy to attract venture capital in Uganda. Because people are not sure about what you're doing. They don't want to invest into businesses that are anti-government. They don't want to fail government.
Yeah, it's true.
We see it clearly in countries where there are startup acts, Rwanda and the rest. They attract much more money.
Yeah.
So that document is very important for us. And we are working with the Ministry of Trade in particular to get this off the shelf. We want to do magic.
Yeah.
I must call it magic.
Yes.
Because normally in Uganda policies, development takes in excess of a year.
Okay.
We have a very ambitious plan of persuading government to see that by December, latest, we do have this.
This December, next December.
Next December.
Okay, just
Next-
to clarify.
next-
The startup,
Absolutely.
the startup act.
Because you have about 3 weeks to see what's
Startup
this.
act was talking about.
We are talking about, because even if
Are
it's
you
the
guys
acts-
working together on that? act?
Absolutely, absolutely,
that's really
absolutely. And what you see, the other interesting bit is the only way to grow the startups in Uganda
Yeah.
is supporting CK
Yeah.
to be everywhere.
Yeah.
It's supporting Claire to be everywhere, because we just can't do this alone.
No, even me that way.
You know-
I have a question for you.
Everywhere.
I have a
but you
question for
see,
you.
Yes.
they are the accelerators
Yeah.
that you do work with.
Yeah. Oh, okay, now I
Yeah.
You
get
know,
it.
so from
I have a question
Yes,
for
please.
you. So Claire, I won't say CK because he's evolved. He's a bit bigger than me. A bit. So Claire or someone else like Claire
Yeah.
needs help. You know, because starting, as you said, there's a lot that small businesses, especially the kind that I do. How do I, first of all, approach? Where do I find you?
Thank
Because
you.
there's a lot of people out there asking, and I'm sitting here also
And
wondering.
there's a lot of
this is
bureaucracy
fantastic
on that
thing.
journey of how
Yes.
I'm going
So
to get
a lot of, I'll give you, for me, I've never got any funding from anywhere. I have figured this out on my own. Why? Because they tell you there's a grant here. I'm like, psh, come on. He's never going to give it to me. And I know there's hundreds of people.
Wait. Actually, the
Out
best
there.
person to answer that would be her.
Actually,
because that's how she,
because,
she's
So let me first finish my thought.
Yes.
So a lot of people are out there wondering how you're saying all these nice things,
Yeah.
but we often, and this is our mindset should also
Mindset.
change.
No, it's true.
But a lot of us are thinking, ezo ziri n'abannannyinizo.
Yes.
Do you get what I mean? And that's automatic. So even if I'm perfect for a particular grant or a particular form of funding,
Yeah.
I will never ever apply. And even until this
It's the
day, I've
same way.
never applied for funding.
I've been told several times by several of my friends that you can actually apply for the Operation Wealth Creation Fund, right? And I've been told it's something you go through. It's a process. It's very simple. But at some point, maybe I was like,
He's never going to give it to me.
how am I going to get?
So what I want to ask first, before we get to to your experience, is what I want to ask is how do I, Claire Muhire, come and where do I even get this information? Because it's all nice and rosy.
Yeah.
Just break it down to the reality of what are the chances of me getting a grant or funding. How do I even make myself
Available.
how do I position myself in the best way to get that kind of funding?
Yeah.
Well, positioning. I will not give you the rosy side of it because I know Diana here will talk about her experience.
Yeah.
But I'll speak to
But also, we don't want
one
the
word
rosy side.
positioning.
Yeah.
Okay, and I will not talk about it from the context of you also come and join this group. Okay, I'm only saying there are basics that you must have, which CK explained.
Yeah.
Business plan, okay, some registration here
Yeah.
and there, you know, and 3 is searching for information and knowledge.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, you know, what is funny is sometimes the person giving out the money is looking for you, but you're also looking for them.
Yeah.
But you can't meet, you know. So I have seen that companies that have presented some of these documents have gone back with something. Sometimes you don't go back with the monies that you wanted, but you go back with a better
The knowledge.
plan that you even never thought about.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm saying that, of course, we are not everywhere, but we intend to do more, and that's why partnerships with Innovation Village and others are very important to reach the bulk of you and others that are starting today and tomorrow, you know, to be able to impact them. We are boosting a lot of work on social media that we will be doing to catch
But
especially
even your
the gig
presence on
economy.
social media is a little bit, you know.
Not yet there, not the best. But that is also work in progress that we're doing to attract, because you know there is another level of, I think, fueled by COVID, that people are using a lot of social media for creatives, for distributions, than the traditional systems. For instance, where you go for newspapers and you don't find them, you look for their systems online, you don't find them. But they are available on social media. So we are moving into that space to also impact these people.
I also feel like, again, you know, when you talked about positioning, maybe you guys are not positioning some of these programs the way you should, so that people are able to see them and access them. Because if you have projects and programs that you know are going to affect certain people, how come you're not targeting those very people through outreach programs that they can know that this exists, this and this and this is something you can use, because she doesn't know that it exists and it's something she needs. So how come you are unable to put them out there for people to know? That's why it makes people think these are for limited people only, because they are not out there. Do you understand?
I do. So like I mentioned, it's a work in progress. We are moving into.
Can I also help? Can I help Eric as well?
Jump to Eric's.
Okay. Yes. Okay. I know from our side as entrepreneurs, sometimes we tend to think, okay, there's no information out there. There's one thing as an entrepreneur I've learned is always seeking for information. It is one of the skills that you really need to have on you. Especially when you're looking for funding. You need to find out which organizations. You need to get to know the PSFUs. I always listen. I'm always watching what innovation is doing, and yes, especially as women, we tend to think a lot that maybe our businesses are too small. As individuals, we are too small, that we might not be able to get that funding. But just try. I have this. Saying all this, something I always say to myself, I'm going to just try. I'm going to send in an application and see how far I can go. And then the worst I'll do is maybe lose the first round. So, but I noticed you go through some processes. Now especially in my line of business, we used to do a lot of bidding for companies, business to business. And when we started, first of all, started getting our papers right. Some of these businesses and the organizations he's talking about require literally almost the same documents. They require that you're registered. They require that you have a bank statement. Now, start by making sure that all your proceeds are going through a bank.
So basically, it's formalization of the business that actually helps you get to that point.
Yes, at least have that with you, you know, like I have because they're going to ask you for audited accounts at a certain level.
So the formal things that you needed, first of all, were,
Yes, you need a certificate of incorporation. That means you need to have been registered.
And then the other one?
Then you at times you need a tax clearance, so you may need to have a tax number. You're registered. Then what is so important for anyone to know whether you're a viable business is your banking. For example, you could be making all this money from your wigs, but there's nothing to show you that it's not in the bank, because the bank is the best way. If you print out a statement, it's the best way someone can tell that, these people actually do have some revenues. So when I go to seek,
with banking, what about people who actually depend on mobile money banking as well? Is that counted?
You can get statements from that.
Yeah, I think you can get statements.
No, because I just wanted to know if it's counted as well. Because if I bring my mobile money statements, are you going to reject them just because they're not from a bank?
That is something at least that is proof. Then have your expenses registered. Have a trading license. There are those basic things that you need. It shocked me to find out that there were so many people within my business that didn't actually have that information. So I would get shocked when I go through a bid. I'm like, oh, did I? Because I'm probably among the few businesses that actually went ahead and submitted a bid. So these are things, the basic things. Get the basic things right. Have try to be compliant with what is required, and then start approaching. And you'll be shocked to learn that actually you'll find some, as I said, there's someone who's looking to give you that money and they don't know where you are, you're not recognized. But when you have that information with you, it's already a stepping stone.
Something you've mentioned that's really key here is how women do not have as much confidence in their businesses as men do.
Yes.
Because that's the truth. Even when we do a lot of stuff, even in our careers, we don't approach it with the self-confidence that the men do.
Yes.
They are going to apply for every job, even the ones that are way above.
Yes.
For us, we don't. And I've told this, excuse me, to very many women whenever I have a discussion about communications. I always tell women that the first thing you should always be very clear about is what your rate card is. When you're going to do like work, because most men know exactly what they're working.
Yes.
So a man will walk into a place and he knows he's going to work on this project and he knows he's going to charge $2,000. A man will say, I can go for
you give me what you can.
That is something I feel we as women need to stop, because we compartmentalize ourselves into tiny things while men just walk in. You see, we've been here talking about things, right? When Sike walked in, when you were sitting there, Sike walked in, the first thing he was this, you can see he's confident about what he wants to do.
Yeah.
When he walked in, I had to actually approach him. I'm like, hi, hello, sir. Yes. So basically, that confidence that we women most times overlook on ourselves. We don't see ourselves as we're worth some of the things we need to.
And yet you find that this woman is more competent than the man she's competing with. She has literally everything.
Okay, what did you want to add on the?
I think she's primarily said a lot of it, but when we get down to it, as an entrepreneur, for me, entrepreneurs are the future. Entrepreneurs solve problems. Entrepreneurs create value. So if you look at all of that, the power actually belongs to the entrepreneur. It doesn't create. It doesn't, and that's a mind shift that I wish as many people could get. The power actually belongs to the entrepreneur. So don't put yourself in a position of I need support. Don't put yourself in a position of support me, of help me, because you're the one who's solving problems of today. You're employing people. You're creating value. So what that does is it gives you a certain level of approach, confidence, and understanding of what am I trying to achieve and who is interested in what I'm trying to achieve. 9 out of 10 times, if you sort out the person who's interested in what you are solving for, they will be lucky. So you actually have that power.
How do I approach them without sounding very cocky and
No, I mean, be clear about what you're building, about the problem you're solving, about who's it for, about which type of partners you're looking for. So even if it's a grant, the grant is not free money. It's going to require you to do a certain level of things. So it's not free. So no one is helping you.
You're going to be held accountable for every penny you spend.
Every single penny. And you're going to have deliverables. So it's probably taking you off your business time. Business focus. The same way if an investor gives you money, they want that money back 5 times. The grant will need you to do certain level of things. So I feel like it's the mindset that we also bring as we start a business. I remember I was in Lagos and I spoke to about 15 entrepreneurs and I collected their business cards, but none of the entrepreneurs, all the business cards had the name of the person. They have clear name of company, address, email address, phone number, and that's it.
No branding,
no title. So I asked these guys, how come I'm not seeing titles on your cards? And they told me, tomorrow we could be going to Kampala, and in Lagos I am CEO. When I go to Kampala, I'm going to be COO. So how do I deal with all of that? If we're building a business, all hands are on deck. Here, you find someone who's been in business 2 days and they are director general.
My cards only have communication specialist.
Your CEO, your director and founder. Business.
Actually, we have have so many CEOs. Everyone is a CEO these days.
It's really that tough. The mindset you bring.
Yeah.
That and that's how we raise financing. That you're here to solve this problem. You're here to create this value. It's faced by millions of people, and then whoever is interested in solving that problem, right, will give you all of the money, whether it's grant.
What are the
or
things
capital.
we do that make us fail to get this funding?
I think we spend a lot of time looking for the funding before you deserve it.
Yeah. So you need to create a situation where you're deserving of the
how
do I do
you're
that?
investment ready.
Yeah.
You're compliant with what you need to be compliant about. You have skin in the game. You've built a minimum viable product. You have a few customers. You know where you're going. You know what the money is for. So someone will say, how much money do I need? 100 million for what?
Yeah.
You can't explain what exactly it's going to do. If it's going to do anything, it's going to go and finance, operational expenses and not for growth. You don't know what type of money that you need. But overall, I tell people, money doesn't flow, and this is a statement I repeat everywhere I go, it doesn't flow to those who need it. It flows to those who create value, for it. So solve a problem that people really care about.
I think, possibly, just my last question for you on this is, so now you've gotten the funding, right? I've seen many people get the funding and redirect it into things that are not meant for the business. And then when the time comes for accountability, because that's why I realized that we don't get as much funding, because people have come to a realization that so many of them start the businesses, they get the funding, and then they leave.
Yeah.
So
number one cause of failure, I guess, whether you're getting a loan or whatever, it's really the utilization. You got it for X, you're using it for for Y. So it hits confidence, it hits trust, it hits your ability to attract more. It hits the initial assumptions that you'd set up for to be able to grow. But like I said, for me, I think we made so many mistakes.
What are some of those mistakes? No, let's just be genuine, because we'd like to know them, so that at least because she's growing a masterclass, maybe one day it will become a bigger one, like Innovations Village.
I think the reason that question is hard, honestly, is I make mistakes every day.
Yes, but you can tell us a few of them that you can identify, so that we know them as well, and the people out there know them, so that they can, if they want to be seeking next year.
A mistake that I make every day that I'm still struggling with is communication.
Okay, that's important.
How exactly do we tell our story in a way that the people we're telling it to understand it? Especially now that what we're doing is new economy, is new knowledge. But how do you communicate something you're also trying to understand every day? I've made mistakes on teams. How do you build a team, to be able to power the mission?
Again, so that goes back to communication still, right?
So I think every single day.
I think to answer your question about communication is, again, this is something I always tell most of my clients is, for every project, every company, everything that you're starting, even if the project is starting from ground, there should be a communication strategy in place. It should be from the very beginning, because a communication strategy is something that's not limited. It's the English word has gone, but anyways, chichukai, every once in a while. The more the business grows, the more the business, it's fluid. The more the business changes, the more it changes. So that helps you when you have a communication strategy that's both internal and external, that you know that once we do this project, we'll just get a copy and paste of this, but change it to suit this different project that we're going to work on. It's the same thing with branding. Most people do not want to have consistency in their communications. And when you're not consistent with it, the people you communicate to will never understand whatever you're saying. And it's also important to identify the demographic you're working with. Once you know your people, the small business that you're working with, what do they want to know? What do they want to hear? The team you're working with internally, how do I engage with them in this way? What channels am I going to engage with through, so that they understand what I'm trying to communicate?
That's knowledge you can sell.
Oh, no, I actually do that.
The things that
I'm a communication
I would
specialist. I'm actually a communication specialist, and that's
Yeah.
my job, and I do that a lot, several times. Anyways, I don't know if we have any more questions, because we're supposed to have a couple of questions from the people, but I don't think we have any of those. So we are about to wind out. Before we do, I would like for you guys to share some of your lessons. She has shared these, the lessons that you feel that at least Evelyn, because you guys are now talking to me. You all have your big experience. I don't have it. What are some of those lessons you think that Evelyn is going to take home from this very panel and discussion?
Perhaps it should come from them, and that should be the last things I'm aspiring.
Being a business person takes a lot of grit. You're going to be knocked off. You're here driving, and then you're going to be, something's going to come and knock you.
Border.
You're going to find yourself in
The
Gulu.
other side.
Things like COVID.
Yeah,
You know,
unexpected.
COVID came and just threw the entire world into a different universe. And now you have to figure out how to survive in that universe. And that's what we're still doing. And so if you don't have grit, I mean, you need to have this painful, I am tired, I am exhausted,
But I'm still
I
going
am
to do it.
over it being tammy, but I am getting up because I know what I want. You know, and unless you have that kind of attitude, you're not going to make it in business. I'll just say get a 9 to 5. It's also okay. A lot of people, there's this whole business, people are pushing businesses, start businesses, but business is not for everyone. Some people are not meant for businesses, and you don't want to find it out the hard way.
Yeah.
And so unless you have grit, don't just start. It's not easy. We make it look glamorous because of the social media.
What about
but it's not.
the people that let's say they're working their 9 to 5s, right? They have this 1 million every month that they earn, they parent, but they keep finding ways that they want to start businesses. Do you think that it's okay for them to drop everything at once and just start businesses, or just stay with that and then see how it goes along the way?
Figure out how to make it work while working 9 to 5, because also losing that constant 1 million. You ask us entrepreneurs what we did in COVID.
It's painful. I know. Actually, it's very painful.
You ask us.
And Diana, right now, as I'm trying to brand myself, right? So I've got the packaging, I've got the product, and now I'm seriously getting into business. But what am I supposed to do to actually get to a position where I am the boss babe? What do you think I might have to work on harder so that my business is not just a few months in and then dead, but a few months in, but then keeps going and going and going?
I think you're asking me about how to, not just this, you've started the business, but how do I make it an ongoing concern?
Growth.
Yes, how do I grow this business? Yes, it's, as she mentioned, businesses, especially in our environment and right now, post-COVID, I hope it is post-COVID.
No, we're still COVID. We're still within COVID.
It could be 3.0, but anyway, it's very difficult. It is hard, but there are tools like for some tools that CK has talked about and Eric has talked about, especially with them, that are important to keep you grounded, that you should look at. Yes, you start out the business, but then you need to start thinking about the numbers. You need to think about how much should I be making on a daily. What are my expenses going to look like? Manage those expenses. Because if, for example, like you're starting, I wouldn't even advise you to get to rent a place.
Of course.
Yes, start from the comfort of wherever you are, and say, I'm going to be here for the next 6 months or the next 8 months. And when you start a business, at times we think it's going to be successful in 1 month, 2 months.
True.
I think you need to think about a year plus. So think about how do I keep my operational costs really low, minimal, and how do I focus on increasing my sales? Is there a demand for this product? Is that product actually do people actually need it? Is there someone buying it from you today, tomorrow?
So like CK said, value. I create the value.
Yes, you create the value.
Yeah.
So for me, those are the two main things right now that I see that are important. To see your sales, are you increasing them? Are they reducing? And then with time, you are talked about the business plan. Right now, okay, we're not so much in looking at business plan, because you could plan for 1 year, 2 years, and as we see, in fact, you need to plan maybe for a week or 2 months.
Yeah.
Because business, the environment is so fluid. But tools like the business model canvas, tools that you can easily use quickly to understand who your customers are, how are you going to deliver to them, where are they, am I going to use direct sales, or am I going to, and then all those also definitely are going to bring costs. But what's my branding going to look like? I need to make sure it's consistent.
Yeah.
Yes, we wear all these hats, but we have to make sure that sales, might talk about sales, bank that money. That money, as I said, the whole 10 million is not...
It's not you.
Yes, it's not you. There's how much of it is actually the revenue, the gross profit.
Yeah.
Out of the gross profit, how much is actually going to be my expenses and what's my profit. So keep looking at that, and in that way, you'll start to see yourself, either you're growing, but it's also important, it's also okay if you realize that your business is not growing.
And it's failing.
It's okay to pivot. It's okay to even take
and
a break.
So if it's failing,
it's okay to take a break
just as a startup and all those things, as it's failing.
Yes.
Eric, what kind of mentorship are you guys now offering us who are just putting our foot, like you're just testing out the waters just to see how many different mentorship programs do you have right now that are in place that we can come for and say, today I'm going to be in this one, I'll be in this one, I'll be in that one? And where do we find them?
Thank you very much. The bulk of the work we do perhaps is not at that level, but maybe is that at systems level, the ecosystem level. Yeah. And one of the the efforts that we put in is around promoting business development services. The information you're hearing here about business model canvas, the diagnosis,
the big
what
words.
you should know, how do you move from one step to the other.
Yeah.
We are coming up with some work that is going to profile and create about 50 experts in this area who will be able to go around the country and provide this information for specific value chains. I'll give you an example. Today, if you need to do a marketing plan for your business in construction, chances are that the person who is going to do it for you has been doing it in coffee.
Yeah.
So you don't have people that have specialized in those different areas.
Very true.
And that's why most of the times what you get is cut and paste, not even copy and paste.
Very true.
So many times they don't really yield results.
Yeah.
So we are moving into change that system.
Specialize.
Absolutely. Specialize such that we have a service that can support each party in the different sectors they operate.
It's really good.
So we are moving into that. The second aspect that we are moving in is leveraging our good relationship with government. We know they're a big pillar in this, and we need to continuously knock to their doors and tell them some of the things. One of the things that I want to speak to is also government is developing the first strategy or business plan for the people that we are going to come up with, the 50. Such that you address issues related to quacks. You know, when you do something good, there are always people that want to take advantage of it. And in the process, the entrepreneurs are disadvantaged. So we are knocking to them and their doors to ensure that they leverage and create a very good balanced field for all the entrepreneurs, for all the startups and people like me to see the opportunities and move to a next level. So we are more or less at ecosystem level.
Thank you so much, Eric. Thank you guys. Thank you so much everyone who has been watching us today. Like I said, if you have any questions that you feel we didn't answer or fulfill for you today, please make sure you look for the PSFU handle on Twitter, or just maybe ask for Eric's email because the social media does not exist. You can find her again.
Be your own boss babe.
Be your own boss babe.
On Instagram.
On Instagram, then her Twitter.
Diana Serco.
Diana and Serco. And of course,
Secret Jaffet.
and mine, it's not necessary. But thank you so much, guys. Thank you for joining us. And we hope to see you guys, because this is a series. So we will do this again in the next few months. And I hope you join us. Thank you, everyone who has joined us. Have a wonderful day. Phew.